Selena Gomez, who all the things that she's obtained in life, she realized was not happy in the social media when it comes to the likes and the following. It's not who she was. She realized it's not worth it when it comes to just like wasting all this time when you can focusing so much on the social media. It actually drained her and it actually emptied her soul. She didn't feel connected. And so in the vanity, she did feel empty and she felt broken. And she felt as if everything that she had been doing in life, it was more like what she was trying to please her fans as followers were expecting her to walk in a certain way, dress in a certain way, behave in a certain way. And that is all just trying to present yourself who you're not, and which is all just vain. And the vanity part of it, that she was able to see that it wasn't her and it was just draining. And that's where she moved away from social media to find herself again. The vanities is plural. This is where an individual, with if they're in that angle in life of trying to chase their dreams and not realize that if they don't have a connection with God, in God, they will continue to have that type of blockage in their view of realizing that it is gonna only create a broken world inside, like what Selena Gomez went through. And so you're competing with the world, with others who carry that kind of vanity of pride and a lot of ego in that. And so like the pride before the fall, how vanities is it can you can lose yourself in it. As you go into this world of this plural vanities, into the world of other individuals who carry that kind of mindset, you're dealing with a lot of pride and you lose yourself in that world, not realizing if you don't have a relationship with God, you will feel empty and broken. And you'll have this, in this vanities, you'll see competition. Other people, competition. Other people will start wanting what you have. Others will start competing and will have that jealousy of wanting to just break your system or break your empire that you've built, not realize that they're just having this competitive way of trying to build that type of life also. And at least Selena Gomez realized where she was at, and she needed to back away from that type of lifestyle. And you start seeing a different transition of that she went through of who she is, and you're able to see a different, more grounded aspect of her. Not a lot of individuals will experience that unless they wake up. And usually it's trauma that takes them there to wake up into that awakening and realize that it's not worth it when it comes to just building this empire and a following and individuals of that continue to like what you're doing. Going into Seth the preacher. Seth is really deep as King Solomon goes into writing this verse. He's like when you say something, you realize, oh, it's like a burden. It's you realize that you're awakening to it. And so King Solomon, as he's saying this, Seth, the preacher, he's actually like in this prayer mode. Here he's saying something, and it feels like this burden of realizing that it just wasn't worth it. And so he's reevaluating his life. And that's what Selena Gomez went through. She was reevaluating of what was really draining her and what she it wasn't her anymore. And by going and reevaluating one's life, you go into this prayer mode. And she's able to really connect and really understand what she needed to shift in life. And unlike Nicki Minaj, she was able to be like the hero on the left, and then overnight she faced the right and supported their morals in life and shifted in a more transitional way. But for the viewers, for those who are fans, they saw it was more like a dramatic shift. But because Nikki was more grounded and she was more connected in God, she recognized Trump and supported him. And she was very beautiful in her speech, which was unscripted, which was only just a few minutes. And she just really collected herself and slowed down in her walk. And even when she went upstage. And then when she was done and presenting what she wanted and seeing how the audience accepted her, the people on the floor, she was still collected no matter what, because that's how it is when it comes to realizing what you were and who you were, and not have society and the world not have it impact you, and to move to a different way of thinking and feeling and doing, because it's a more higher way. And the morals that she was looking at, the morals that they had, the values that they had, it really supported with where Nikki was in life. And whereas where she saw on the left, it was mostly a lot of vanity, a lot of ego and pride. And so a lot of people have lost themselves in that angle. Going back into Seth and what Solomon had realized as he's in prayer and he feels this burden in his soul where he's drained all his energy in these materialism, he's feeling depressed and he's feeling as if he's lost a lot, even though he's gained a lot of materialism. So that's how Selena Gomez had felt when she felt as if she was at the highest of her part of the world. But when she reached up that high of the highness in life and the things that she obtained and things that she accomplished, she realized she was actually broken and empty. And so that's where it is when it comes to the vanity of things. You start realizing that it's just not worth it. Nothing under the sun is new. Going back to the preacher, Solomon is reminding his people that he is helping his people, he's gathering them again as to awaken. To awaken to the reality that it's not all not what you think it is when you go into this awakening and realize you got to start all over and start with base one, which is having your relationship with God. And so, what is it as you're chasing this rat race? And is it really worth it to really put all your effort into something? But there's no goal in the end to, like, what's the purpose of chasing it? If there's no purpose, then it's really all for nothing. There are individuals who feel as if they needed to take that title away from themselves and to really have that type of grounding reality and awaken to different parts of life where they can feel more grounded and connected to the earth, and less materialism. Going back to vanity, you are again going, Solomon is going back into the circle, the cycle of life, and repeating that. You start seeing that everything in life is repetitive, and you start seeing that whatever you obtain is not worth it. And again, in vanity of vanities, singular. And so it's repeating and realizing that awakening process. You start seeing that there's this repetitive mode of seeing that everything in life is the same. And so that's where a person will see, as they dive into their angle of this low life, the ways of feeling empty and broken. Like, what is it? You're not reaching your destiny. And so without God, you're not reaching the higher purpose and your mission, your calling in life, and you're not reaching what in the alignment where God wants you to be. And as you go into the next vanity of vanities, and this is plural, and again you're repeating that cycle of realizing the world is in this robotic way of obtaining things in life. They're asleep and as they're walking, and you start seeing how everybody is somewhat chasing that next big thing, but you start seeing not just yourself, but in others. And you start seeing generations of individuals, the materialism of how things are built, and companies as they are reaching into this hierarchy of obtaining employees. It's just this cycle that you start seeing. It's all out of vain. It's plural, so it's you bring yourself into the whole world of realizing everything is nothing is new under the sun. And that goes back to all is vanity. All, you start seeing the world is connected to the materials in life as individuals continue to do their daily routine. As you start seeing that all, the world is, you're seeing this new viewpoint that even though the world is continuing to revolve and individuals continue to do what they need to work out in life and obtain and accomplish, our world is still the same. And the world overall is just like, it's still going to be there. It's still going to evolve in ways that society, humanity will fall apart, and the world will still be in place. As we continue to build that relationship and that awakening in God, the world will come into a higher consciousness. And but in this verse, as a person awakens to that reality that all is vanity, and it's not worth trying to prove yourself to the world. It's not worth trying to lose yourself, and you're basically selling yourself to the devil and the fallen system. And so that's where it is when it comes to just understanding the different ways that vanity is placed in the sentence. Vanity, this is where we are just like needing to be careful. Vanity You've awakened to the world of realizing all of it is just not worth it. Humanity starts realizing that when it comes to vanity, when you come to the end of this verse, this second verse, and how everything is placed in life, you start seeing there's a pattern in life where a person grows and awakens and moves on to the next stage. And how that looks like in transitioning, it can be abrupt, or you can transition to that next phase in a gradual way. And the abruptness, where it seems as if it feels abrupt, the vanity part, if you hold yourself together, and like Nicki Minaj, that was able to switch from the left and then move to the right, she was able to really be in this grounding way where she was able to let go of that vanity, of that pride and that ego, and she was able to be transparent. And the transparency, you're able to bring others closer to their calling and closer to their awakening and their relationship with God, especially when Nicki Minaj had went onto the stage with Trump and acknowledged him that he was and had a huge force supporting him, behind him, and that force of higher mind of individuals and their walk in life. And she basically saw that Trump was protected. And that's where she had mentioned that Trump was definitely had God backed up, and God was backing him up. And so in that transparency, as you start seeing the way individuals transition to the next chapter in life and their next spiritual journey in life, you start seeing that they become more vulnerable, they become more humble, they become more humble in their ways, and they start seeing that all of it is just not worth chasing, but to really be true to yourself and to really understand yourself, that you can really help another individual walk their destiny in life and really have that support group, and really have that destiny in life that the person can truly follow their calling and their passion as they're building their relationship with God. And so we come to an end, and thank you for joining me here as we studied the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 2, and in the King James Version, of what it means to have that relationship with God as we continue the path and chasing and following that covenant that we have with Him. Chasing our passion in life or the materialisms in life, and how does that look like when we don't have a connection with God. Thank you again for joining me, and pass this on to individuals and souls that you may come across who may need this message. And see you in the next verse on chapter 1, verse 3 of Ecclesiastes. And God bless.